car going up the hill. And we also have her empowered in reverse. So this is really talking about like the position and the conditions, like what we have been experiencing in relation to resources we don't have, how hard it has been to achieve things or to move forward without them. So one of the resources coming up that we really need in terms of Pentacles here is actually the resource of relationship and connection, close, like interwoven webs and networks of connections with others. Now that's pretty obvious, but the other 10 that comes up is the 10 of Swords. And this is ultimately talking about, and I've been reflecting about this a lot myself, this is talking about just have a sudden desire for crystal. That's I think there might be in here. These are the wounds that are present in the way of us being able to respond to that desire. So, quote unquote, these are the reasons why you will avoid community or the abuses or misuse of power, whatever it is. Let me just get this out, because there's an amethyst in here that I also want. These are all the ways in which Ten of Pentacles, in terms of that built up connection. And I'm avoiding using the word community because we have association with that I don't want to call out. I really do mean these very deep interpersonal relationships. I'm talking about friendship, family, even co-workers here. And most of what I'm saying is that there are avoidances, is what I can feel, or limitations on our involvement. Yeah, I can feel the energy of us being really on the outskirts. Like there is a level at which you may even engage, but you still stay on the outer circle of these levels of connection because of issues related to allowing yourself to be close and to trust others, which ultimately puts you on the outside of one of your most core resources. Yeah, and it creates these conditions, Tower card, and right underneath the Tower card is the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, so this is like turning our valued relationships upside down, or being not feeling safe enough to approach. Other cards we have, yeah, Four of Swords and the Nine of Pentacles is like both a level of self-reliance here, but also being a bit resolute or resigned to the necessities of self-reliance. So this isn't the kind of self-reliance or independence when you're like, I choose me, I will do it all by myself, I'm bad on my own. It's not that energy. This is more so making peace with, putting up with the conditions in life in which it's like, oh, we just have to, this is just how it has to be. I don't see a different way for this to play out. This is just the status quo, so to speak. And so we have mirrored energies here in the form of the Queen of Pentacles and the Queen of Swords. Queen of Pentacles, you can see her hand is out where she's placing her hand on the seat and looking to the side, almost as if she's beckoning someone. And the Queen of Swords has her back turned, and on the floor in the cage is her heart. So this is talking about the journey and the experience that we've gone on when we went from inviting people into our lives, being very open and receptive to others, to having to be guarded and caged, and like I said, at a distance. I'm going to pull some more cards on that, but I just want to show the other side of things, which here is, it comes back to what I was saying about the consciousness and the disempowerment that comes through disassociation. So we have the Art card in reverse, which is the Temperance card. I'll turn it up, right, so you can get a sense of the visual here. There is an angelic kind of woman, and the Temperance angel has graffiti art on the wall. So what this is talking about with the Ace of Wands and reverse as a clarifier is that we're losing power, our life force, so to speak, through the artistic means that we use to escape our lives. So this is pleasure and beautification. This is kind of like it's really interesting because this is a Jupiter card, and so this would be taking the thing to the extreme with Jupiter's influence here. And there is the desire to beautify or to experience better, and or with temperance energy, we're talking about alchemizing. So, and or to alchemize the pain or the frustration or the boredom or the emptiness or whatever it is that we're feeling into something that feels good or beautiful. But there's something about the way we're going about doing such thing that is actually disempowering, rather than, again, because empowerment card in reverse, rather than actually putting the world in our hands in the ways that we desire. What does that look like? It is the Knight of Cups card, the seducer, and the Eight of Swords, interference. What does this mean? It means that our pleasure seeking is about escaping, emptying, or being away from the mind, silencing the mind, plugging it out. And as a result of such choice, we get the Seven of Cups in reverse. We can't make any choices. And this is interesting because it's cups energy, right? It's not swords. So we're talking again, like I said, your consciousness cannot interact on an energetic level to say yes, no, maybe to anything, because it is not presently engaged in the life it is experiencing. And so rather than having the Four card energy here, major arcana, where we are at perpetual new beginnings, where every day and every moment is an opening to something new and something different and something better than what we're already experiencing, through the guidance and the intention and the choosing of our consciousness. Instead of that, what we actually get is the fun, so to speak, or the noise of the Knight of Wands card and the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, which is that we allow life to happen to us. And then we feel like, oh, things have always been this way, or I'm never going to change, because we are in, you're always in some kind of flow, right? And there is always an energetic flow. So you are in the flow of something, and that particular stream and current that you're moving through feels to you like the most powerful thing and the only direction this river of your life goes. But it only requires your consciousness to be like a boat. It only requires your consciousness to be like the oar. You know, there are currents and streams, but there are all sorts of marine life that swim in that water. Do you know what I mean? They have adapted to be able to move and to migrate and to travel and to do what they need to do. So you also can take that as an example from nature about how you need to navigate the watery consciousness energies of life in terms of what needs to happen for you. And it can't be turning your mind off, jumping out of the mind, not deciding, and distraction. So just to wrap these two portions up in terms of our storytelling and some spiritual teaching here. Wheel of Fortune in reverse again. And the Six of Wands. The message is kind of like, there are victories you can't see when you're not looking. That's basically what I can feel and see. Sorry, the light is red, so the cards are very red. There are victories that you can't see, can't get to, can't experience when you aren't looking. And when I say looking, I don't mean looking for the victory. That's not what I mean. Sometimes the looking, like I said, is looking at the pain. Look at that. Next card to come out. That's what the looking is. Now, that does not look like looking at the victory, does it? It doesn't look like this person who was on the floor with her head down in the Five of Pentacles card, which is all about emptiness and deprivation and lack and loss and not having enough. In this particular energy, this person, this seeing, this looking, the presence in this energy is not Six of Wands. It does not look or feel like this. And yet, the message is, well, this woman has her hands raised and she's in celebration with the wreath. The message here is that the getting to hair is the eye-opening about hair. And I say the eye-opening because it's not always about finding the solution. And I think, especially as a Virgo, like, we can look at things with a very critical eye, right? You might pop your eye open and get the magnifying glass and be like, I'm present, I'm really looking, with harshness or with criticism or with judgment or like, this is a problem. That is not the looking. The looking, like I said, is awareness. The looking is truth telling. The looking is the honesty. It is is touching the feeling, the present feeling, and knowing what that is. We have a couple of different ways. This is what I'm hearing. We have a couple of different ways to approach resources here. One is a whole lot of effort. Emperor card of the Seven of Wands. Whole lot of effort in regards to resources. The other here is having enough but not really knowing what to do with it. So this is the energy, for example, of someone whose basic needs are met. You're not someone who is very afraid of like your general survival. You know, you don't have high levels of stress related to you being okay, but you're like, there's almost a boredom in this energy. It's like, I do have resources. I may have money, or I may have time, or I may have a healthy body, or I may have a degree. Do you know what I mean? You may have resources in those senses. Again, because resources more than money here. You may be like, I have a good family, or I have really good friends. This is you have things in your lap, but that doesn't matter. Like, not that it doesn't matter, but it's not resulting in whatever the thing is. And I think like the thing is evading you anyway. You're like, I just something is missing or not here about your life, or there's a reason you're not feeling deeply happy, fulfilled, and content. And it's like you don't know what to do with what you have. And then the other group 10 of wands here is just, oh my gosh, so much effort, so much pressure, so much exhaustion, feeling really, really tired. And just feeling like I've come a long way, like I've walked a long way, and there's still so far to go, and I feel so burdened. So let's get some advice. It looks like this has turned into a kind of impromptu pick a card. So we have to read the three groups. Group one is 10 of wands, group two is Knight of Pentacles, and group three is 7 of wands and Emperor. Mm. It was really deep. Wow, this is unexpected. I haven't said that in a while. Yeah, I'm through spirit. Okay, I do think I want to pull another round of cards, so just be patient with me, please. This is the Night Sun Tarot. Do relaxed. Left in reverse. Mm. Okay, I'm the second. Oh, and then group two. Love that. And three. This is so cool. Group three. Mm. Okay, amazing. Okay, so I would advise all of you here to reflect, and you're going to listen to all of them anyway, but just see which group you feel most called to in terms of your life experiences. Are you the person who's really burdened? Are you the person who's resourced but like, I don't know what to do with myself and my life? Are you the person who is just putting in so much effort and then really having to apply your effort in so many ways and directions? Okay, so group one, which is the Ten of Wands card, for those of you who are feeling really burdened. If you get the Seas of Mint Club, I think this card is called in reverse. Hard to see because it's just a sea, it's all water, so you can barely see it in the light. You can see a little bit of that. This is just a sea. But it's just actually talking about the energy of being flooded and or excess use of water. So the flooded energy is actually about grief, and that's why we have the death in reverse, because the death card in reverse is talking about things that have actually died but not been released. So you're stuck in kind of grief pattern here. So the watery energy is being, your body being flooded, your heart, your mind being flooded with grief, sorrow, regret, depression, etc. That whole bandaged spectrum of emotions. Okay. So there's that. And what you get is jump in deep cellular healing as the two cards of advice for you. That for you to be able to move and change and transform, the resource that you really need right now is time. I don't mean the resource of time passing. I mean, you need to give yourself the resource of time spent devoted to yourself. And that is towards the deep cellular healing. And that is the opening up or the addressing of the wounds, the addressing of the grief. So that things aren't just stirring you, triggering you, provoking you, overwhelming you, or that you're not. You have to think about emotions are on locations. When we think about this ecosystem of an energetic landscape and world that we live in, the emotion that you're feeling is indicating to you where you are finding yourself in the map or the graph of life. And revisiting particular types of emotions, especially as they relate to grief being a portal or a memory that is taking you back to one or multiple places in your past that feel a certain kind of way, relates to you feeling like you can't move forward because you are revisiting, inhabiting, or haunting the same old places. So if you look at this 10 of Wands, which was your card, there are these fire stakes on fire that she's put, or like almost like lampposts along the way, and the grief and all the other kinds of associated emotions that come up for you repeatedly are you revisiting these places. And you know what that feels like to you? I'm not getting anywhere. I'm stuck. This is so hard. So the advice for this group with the High Priestess card and the Hanged Man in reverse Pisces energies, both of these cards, which is talking about therefore being stuck in the matrix, so to speak, or being stuck in the consciousness, being stuck as you move through the non-visible, immaterial aspect of life, like not actually being able to move. That stuckness is about the stuck energies, feelings, emotions, wounds underneath them, beliefs underneath that in the body. So the resource that you need is the time taken to see, to look, to be honest, to know. And very often just knowing what and where the pain is, what the cause is, reflecting on what is showing up in the body is enough of a consciousness shift to bring forward into your life that which is needed to soothe, remedy, and heal it. And some things, they don't, I'm listening to, is it called? I don't remember the name of the book. I think it's something like A Love Story for Ricky or something, which a friend of mine recommended. And listened to the audio book, and it's funny because I love slave narratives. Pretty much, mostly read magical realism or narratives about slaves as my genre of fiction. And I thought this book, I was expecting it to be different, but I thought, and I laughed when I started like getting into some of the book because there's a lot there so far for me that feels ancestral. And one of the characters in the book, there was a line when I was listening today, and he says, when it comes to grief, and his feelings about being in Harlem, I think it was in New York, if you don't keep moving, it will eat you alive. And it made me think about what I was sharing in Ancestors group chat this week about how my movement gets impaired by grief, how I get stuck on the riverbank, how the things I'm trying to do in my life, I can't do them anymore because I'm grieving. And so again, what I'm saying is I'm listening to this character, and the reason I bring this up is because a lot, what he's grieving is a deep, I'm still not doing spoilers, but it's a deep racial wound. It's about the wound of what's happened to him in his life, in the body that he's in the way that the world perceives him. And that kind of grieving and that kind of pain and that kind of feeling, And these sorts of wounds, sometimes you're not recognizing how deeply they go. And in terms of your expectations of yourself to just be able to get over certain things, you're not recognizing how thick the energy is in your family, for example, and in your living family, and it's a collective energy. I was thinking about this because on another show I was watching, white supremacy was doing its thing, and I can't stomach this right now. This is not actually, I don't want to see this. But the reason I was thinking about what is it about sometimes when I see that, why do I react that way? Because, there are evil people all over the world. I'm like, white people, I still say white people aren't uniquely evil. I don't know about that. But there are multiple stories of cruelty is what I mean. And so why is this bothering me so much? And I thought, you know what it is? It's what I was thinking before. I was in the bathroom having a shower before this. And I was like, what it is that it's the collective consciousness of it. It's that this particular form of evil was so empowered, was spread so wide, was such a collective experience. And we're not talking about one or two people, and we're also not talking about one or two countries. Do you know what I mean? Like, when we think about how empowered this particular evil is, then it can feel so voracious, but so all-consuming in its veracity, like in the way that it's feverish to harm. So I'm watching that and I'm thinking about that, and I'm therefore, even as I'm listening to the story and then seeing this other thing that I was watching, I'm like, there are feelings in my body related to belief or lack of faith or exhaustion, weary bones energy that aren't just about me and my 38 years on this planet. And they aren't even about my grandmother and her years and my great grandmother, even. But there are multitudes, and I can hear and feel like the physical energy of a deep sigh when I think about this, of what it means like. And again, when I talk about location and place, and ancestor work is really my business. Like, when I talk about, I don't mean business as in money business. I mean, it's my concern. When you look at my birth chart, I was really born for that. I was really born to be close to the ancestors and to serve not just mine, but collective ancestors. And when I'm talking about emotions like moving you and placing you somewhere, to connect and to feel things that centuries of ancestors have been feeling, is also to place you in certain locations, is to put you in contact. And so, a bit like in the film Sinners, the use of the blues, for example, in this book, the use of jazz and the blues as this musical bridge that transcends time, but is also the conduit or the river and the flow of deep trauma, pain, and suffering. Like, this is where it is being poured into, and it's this moving thing. And it is a river that is going backwards and forwards. So it is transporting people backwards and forwards in energy and emotion, and giving an outlet to what is soul breaking and body breaking and spirit destroying. This is what is needed. And music is really incredible. This deep cellular healing is a very Taurus kind of card, and Taurus rules the throat and also is associated with music, sound instruments. To move in the same way that I was talking about this kind of jazz blues link as this teleporting of ancestral connection. To move, we have to feel. And this group, all you feel is burdened, and that's not specific enough. You got to unpack those burdens and those worries and those weary bones. And one thing you can say about that genre of music, whether it is blues or jazz or gospel, reggae, people were naming what was ailing them. They were saying, this thing happened to me. Oh, I can feel that. And that's the testimony that's needed. Like, that testimony, that speaking is also a river and a current and a transportation and a portal. This is what has happened to me. This is what has shaped me. This is what has left a hole in my heart. This is what has broken my bones. This is what has made my head hang low. And it's a conjuring. This is not a grief that drowns you. It is a, we were talking before about this not being able to be in community with others because we don't feel safe, because we're so wounded and so are other people, and we're colliding in our wounds. But this magic of seeing and saying and telling, it puts us in community with each other. It puts us in community with our ancestors. And I say that too because, a couple of people, other spiritualists, have been posting about how heavy and how difficult they've been finding this current season. And it really makes me feel so seen. Like, I'm like, whew, so it's not just me. And that is what we need. That it's not just me feeling, because in that time bending sense of connection and in that space bending, because all of these people that I'm seeing that are talking about their experiences in ways that I really relate to, or in completely different places and locations, and the connections are being established. Even if I don't say a word to them, again, my feeling matched with their feeling, that sense of connection. Also, the way that it bends time is where we are pulling those remedies from. In Ancestors group chat, when I was talking, it just came through that there's a particular ritual to do with nutmeg, and I'm going to do it actually. So this month I'm feeling really structured and really settled. So this will be the month that I'm going to do this coming weekend. I'll either do it, I'll confirm either the energy healing or the 5 candle ritual for Horizon. I'm getting a sense I'm probably going to do the the candle ritual first. And the nutmeg ritual feels like it needs to come before the energy healing, because I feel like there needs to be a certain level of work. And for a lot of you, I feel like there needs to be some clearing out that needs to happen before the energy healing comes in. There's a reason I brought that up that I'm not remembering right now. As in the nutmeg ritual. Oh, that's it. I was really thinking about how that came through to me and how my body responded with like a deep knowing of this is exactly what is needed in this season. When I was talking about the nourishment, I've been doing certain rituals related to nourishment, and this is a new one on what my next steps. And I wanted to share in the group chat, I wanted to put in just a quick infograph on the properties of spiritual properties of nutmeg, but everything kept just saying luck, money, like everything. And I was just like, it doesn't fall in alignment for me to post this, because I can feel that the power of this particular plant is so much more vast than that, but our needs are so specific in terms of money and finance. So that's what you see. So I was like, I don't actually want to tune and channel in the community to thinking about the nutmeg ritual as about quick money. And it may still bring that, but I just don't want to narrow you. I want us. And I was thinking about what has been lost culturally through the breaking of our altars and the excommunication of our old gods, let's say, and our knowledge of what the vast uses and the expansive uses of different plants and other entities and elements and elementals in the world are and do. So I thought, actually, this is going to be a really great practice for all of us to have connect and relate and experience nutmeg, and then be able to look back with personal life experience and then the experience of hearing from others and be able to say, oh, this is what this plant does. Like, spiritually speaking, this is not coming from Google. Do you know what I mean? This is not a Google search relationship. This is I touched this plant. I did something with this thing, and life, my consciousness worked with this thing, and life responded to me in these ways. I now understand this relationship with this plant. But I say that too because the knowing that came through me in order to do the nutmeg ritual was, one, through this ancestral and otherworldly connection I have with things and beings that are both past in time and outside of time. So again, it is reaching for the medicines and it's reaching for the remedy, because why did it come forward? It came up in relation to me talking about and the deep dreams and directions healing that I did, that was revealing the deep undernourishment in the body and the deep undernourishment in my life, the looking and the consciousness and the awareness about that, and the collective feeling I was having with you and my spirits calling in the medicine needed. That's why you look, that's why you need to see. Okay, group one. River of Fire. I'm guessing you're all just relaxing and listening. Give me some signs of life. Or some comments if you were in group one and there's something that you want to say. I'm going to sip some water. And then we'll do group two. I'm very conscious of time. I wasn't expecting to go so long with the teaching portion, but I also, it just, I can feel the spirit moving. So I don't want to exert control basically over the flow of things. Chat says, yes, very much resonating. Feel like I resonate with all of them. Also taking it all in while I work on my frequently abandoned crochet project. I love that. I absolutely love that. Okay. That even that visual of you sitting and doing that gives me so much joy. And also in the chat says you're in the flow today, girl, with fire, heart, emoji. Thank you so much. Shout out to Spirit, man. Spirit's been spiriting lately. Okay. All right. I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, magic is really flowing. Like it feels resonant and true. I was about to say life feels hard. Well, again, that's that group one energy where I said the only emotion being felt is the 10 of wands like char. Everything is so fucking hard. That's how it feels. But I do need to allow myself to feel things other than that. All right. Now, group two. Knight of Pentacles group, where you do feel like you do have resources, you have things available to you. There are things and decisions you could act on, and you're just like, but I don't know which direction to go in. To be honest, your message is a lot shorter. I hope you don't feel shortchanged in. Even as I said that, Spirit did not like me saying feel shortchanged. I felt the tension in the body there, but this sometimes happens as well, actually, when I do ancestors group chats. I remember when I did what was the messages that I did? I can't remember what the theme was. I think it was on wounds. Anyway, when I did those readings, for some people, like the voice note went on for 10 minutes in terms of what Spirit wanted to say to them. And other people was like 2. And me as the person doing the work was really looking like, that guys, there's a big disparity here. However, when it was 2 minutes, it was because it was so succinct and concise. It was just like, this is all that needs to be said. You don't need a long, in-depth explanation or review. This is just a truth that needs to be said, and it just needs to land. And I feel like group 2 is the same kind of energy where I was waxing poetical with group 1, and now we're just like to the point with things. So group 2, your message is quite simple in the fact of what you need, the resource that you need right now, where you're standing in life and you're like, I don't know where to go. It's actually relationship. And Spirit is really saying to this group that you're trying to come up with dreams and you're trying to come up with ideas, visions, plans. You're asking, what's the right thing for me? Like, you may even be asking, what's the career? Where's the place to live? Like, I feel this, it doesn't feel like what's the meaning of life, that's much more existential, but it feels like you have, unanswered questions about plans. Like, and you're a bit like, I don't even know where to start. So it's not like you have a plan and you're like, oh, I can't do it. You're like, I don't even know what to plan. I don't even know what to see. And Spirit's like, what we're not understanding is that it's not even about a plan. It's not about a strategy. And now what you're, I wonder if I would like to explain this a little bit differently, because language is not matching the energy that I feel. But I'll show you 2 of the cards, for example. You've got double mission and star family as your messages. And Spirit is really saying you're trying to come up with a plan when what you need and what you're here to do is to be in relationship with people. very Temple of Venus message. Like this is Venus is a unifier and a relational energy. You are here to be in relationship. You are seeking a job, a career, a plan. And it's like you're not really here for that. And it doesn't mean you can't have a career, but it's like it's a little bit secondary for this group to the deeper mission, double mission here. So again, if it's a double mission, it means yeah, you're gonna hold down a job and you're gonna do your grocery shopping and clean your house. Do you know what I mean? Like there is the mission that is maintaining yourself in the world. But their other mission is deeply about relationships. And what they're showing me with the star family here is that the travel that you're trying to do, the places that you're trying to get to, the experiences that you want to have are not going to come through the mind and through thinking about it, deciding and trying to come up with ideas in relationship to it. It is actually about the transport of feeling and experience born through intimacy. And so we have the the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, which was, again, the card here was earlier about this seat warming or holding space for others, inviting others into your life. And reverse is this is the stop doing now because of things that happened to you. The Three of Pentacles is saying you got to go back to that, honey. You actually have to go back to fostering and creating relationships and bringing people into your life. You have to go back to intimacy. Because this is not about socializing. That's what I will say. Being social is an aspect of this, but this is not about socializing. This is about intimacy. You have to have intimacy because, like I'm talking about, all of these portals, all of these senses of movement that you're seeking, where you want to go, what you want to experience, what you want to see. What I can literally feel is a weird than I saw like a kangaroo, but what I could feel is that the plans and the seeds and the visions and they're all inside someone else. And then they showed me the kangaroo pouch, which is odd. But the energy here, they say this is specific to someone. The kangaroo is a confirmation for someone. So someone's listening, someone will or is or will listen to this and be like, that kangaroo message was for me. Yeah, they're not your ideas. It's kind of like what it is. It's not all meant to come from you. Which is really, anyway, art really imitates life. And again, when I started listening to this book, I was like, I really think that there's a divine timing element to this. And in the book that I'm currently listening to, one of the characters is trying to write a memoir and really struggling with it. And every so often, when she's randomly talking to her friend is like, this is a good idea for the book, or you should do it this way. And I was really thinking about that relationship when I was listening to it and looking at this as the same energy where it's like, there are people who are your open door. There are people who have the idea that are going to say to you, hey, you should do it like this, or you're really good at this, or go here, or come here, or do this with me. And again, this is not networking. And I want to be really clear about that because that is a distortion, would be, if you were to apply that here, would be a distortion of the energy here because this is not about meeting and relating with people in order to extract that information from them. That's not what it is. This is a revelation you get through depth of relationship. And they're saying that this again is about seeing because it's about seeing each other. And some of the truths that people are going to echo to you, I can really feel this in my body, in a beautiful way. Some of the things that people are going to echo to you are going to come through the deep love and intimacy of knowing you. Oh gosh, I feel like I'm in the spoilers territory because I want to say one more thing about the book. But I guess this is minor. It's not a big deal, actually. It's not part of the main storyline. But one of the main characters, she's been told something about herself a lot, which has led to her like having some forms of limited beliefs or not seeing herself clearly. And she forms a new relationship with an older woman who becomes like family to her. And one day she's saying something about herself, and this older woman says, this is not true about you, and tells her what is actually true about her. But the only reason that old woman can do that is through the intimacy of their relationship, because she knows her so well. And part of the wound for this particular character is the alienation of not being known well by others, not being known well by the people who have said these things to her that have caused her spirit to will or for her to doubt herself. But the true seeing and the true knowing and the opening up of her path even comes through this particular person who is capable and primed for and willing to be in relationship with others in a deep, abiding, and intimate way. And there's so much more I could say about this particular story. And to be honest, the Libra in me who loves the arts and loves the cultural critic in me, you know me, I always want to be doing something. I genuinely would love to just take pieces of things that I do, like, and when I say things I do, I mean shows I'm watching, books I'm listening to, songs, and just build a spiritual world around it, as in talk about it in the context of what I'm thinking about spiritually. Well, let me not take on board another thing to do right now. I want to. The desire is there. Well, coming from the person who said life just feels so difficult, I don't think I should add that to my plate, but I would really like to do that. So I hope that feels clear to you, group two. Relationships are the highway. Relationships are going to hold the answers that you need. And there is a kind of non-linear life or lack of answers. You may be the type of person, even if you go for divination, you don't really get the answer. You get told to ask another question or to wait or to trust. You know what I mean? It can feel a little bit like spiritually you're being kept in the dark. But that is because that is by design. So you have the kind of life that, the word for me is a little bit, it's like it's connecting, that there are connection points or links that click into place and light something up. And telling you ahead of time or just saying things is not gonna, that's not the way that you were designed. You were designed for release through connection, change and growth and movement through connection. Okay, group three. My laptop says out of space signals. Well, truth be told, I really haven't been deleting the videos I've been recording lately, so I'll have to do that soon. Group three. This is the group that's applying a lot of effort. You are the hustle, hustle, hustle hard. You're the group who loves to work. You're the group who is like, I'm going to put 10 hours in. You're the group who is like, if you just tell me what to do, I'll get it done. I'll go hard. I'll put the effort in. Like, you are going to roll your sleeves up this group. Listen. Woo! I can just keep hearing it. Hustle, hustle, hard. Listen, group three. No. Mm-mm. I'm clearly in the mood for shows because I just thought of the clip from Married to Medicine, and it's become a bit of like a thing on Twitter, at least, a social media, where Quad, those of you who don't watch it won't know her, but there's a character where it's actually in the actual real life scenario, it's over something incredibly sad, and she's holding this person arm, and she's just saying, "No, baby, no, no," and like tearing up and saying, "Baby, no." But people obviously have started to use that video clip over very superficial and frivolous things on the internet. So let's say, for example, someone like posted an outfit that they liked, and then someone will post a video of Quad going, "No, baby, no." Anyway, that's a visual I can see for this group. Where it's like, "Baby, no, no, no." So your approach, no. Where to start with you? You have a new earth, and this is what you're trying to do. Like, you're literally trying to create a new life, and you're trying to hold the head on, hold the earth on your own head. The earth being your life. You're trying to hold everything on your own head. You also have the "you're not for everyone" card. So this is also doubly difficult for you. You may really connect to group one because you're probably an outcast or an alien or different in a very significant way, which has kept you on your own or outside of relationship, feeling lonely in some sort of way, and that loneliness reinforcing for you this idea that you really just have to get it done on your own. And spirit is saying, "No, baby, no." Six of Wands and Ten of Wands. This is you being willing to take on the burden. Ten of Wands is the burden. We had that card earlier. Six of Wands is about success. You are like, I am willing to be burdened to make it. And Spirit is saying, what? No, baby. You've got star bathing here and weight of the world. You need to release the weight of the world. You need to find that relationship to creativity, again, manifestation, to bringing your consciousness into life, to even to understanding your necessary resources, but also you need to understand that you're not alone. No matter how much life has both forced you and you have chosen isolating and alienating experiences, no matter how much you have kept yourself to yourself for the sake of safety, even if you are presently lacking of others, you are not alone spiritually. And your well-being is not just yours to hold. You're not holding that on your own. And Spirit is also saying with the Two of Wands in reverse, that this energy of being willing to take on all the burdens in order to finally win is preventing you from looking at what is truly driving that underneath. What is driving that feeling of I will work hard, I will work hard, I will work hard, and it's the Tower card. This is tyranny. It's the plantation, to be honest. One second, group. Yeah. It's really interesting because I was talking to AJC about time tyranny and, you know, my relationship to healing wounds around running out of time, the clock and all that energy. And I'm feeling it here to this group. You have all sorts of feelings about running out of time. Some of you think you're too old. Things are too late for you. And like, it's really like, it's a horrible energy. I can really feel it where you're just running. There's a song by an artist called Mike, MMYYKK. Is it called Escape, I think? And he's just like, I'm running, and then I'm running on empty. I'm gonna listen to it afterwards, actually. It's such a good song. And he's saying, I'm gonna wait for a while now, I can't sleep, and I'm running on E. Ooh, very 10 of Wands energy. Like I'm going and I'm empty. And this is the group where you're making it. Oh, that's breaking my heart. Wow, guys. This group is not a comparison or competition. This group is in the most pain presently. Group 3, you're making me want to cry. Your heart is so broken, group 3, and it's not this heartbreak is, you are on the run. That's what I would say. You are on the run. You are running. All of this, I'm going to win. I'm going to win. I will try hard. You are trying to outrun the wound. Underneath, you feel broken and crumbled. And there is this thing around worthiness here where you are like, oh, group 3. You're like, if I win, I literally want to cry tears. I feel for this group. You genuinely feel like if I just win, if I just can get this particular thing to happen, I will prove. You are really trying to prove yourselves. You're also trying, and I don't think you're consciously aware of this because you are, I think you would know you're trying to prove yourself, but what you don't seem to know is that you're trying to prove your way in. Oh, this is heartbreaking. You are trying to prove your way into belonging and being loved and accepted by others. And you're like, this is my certificate. Like, you are just trying to find that certificate of acceptance. and you have a thing, you have this thing, whether it's money, whether it's a relationship, a child, a job. There's this one thing this group feels like, if I just have this thing, like, I will prove myself worthy. And there is such deep sense of worthiness underneath that. That this thing that you think you get is not going to touch it. Oh, I can image they showed me was like he was the inner child, like holding up an offering, like a child coming to you as an adult and trying to give you something. And children should be loved freely. Oh, group 3, the pain that you are in is not going to be touched or soothed at all through achievement or through getting this one thing. The demolition of your sense of worth and your worthiness happened at such a, it happened in a location that has nothing to do with things. There is a real brokenness of spirit in this group. Spirits are very broken. And this is the kind of tearing apart, is the kind of wound that has to be sewn with spiritual tools. But you are running on empty. The resource this group needs is healing. You need to be healed at the consciousness level of this group. You need deep energy healing. And it is a priority. Like, you need to do this because I feel like it is like a ricochet or a signal through everything you do, think, and feel, is this signature of unworthiness. And it is to the core of you. It's just runs so deep. And that is what you are outrunning. And this is what you are trying to outwork, and you can't. And so the last two cards for this group are the World card and the Seven of Pentacles. And this is the way out of this experience. And the way out is through the body. You have to heal. You have to have healing. You have to work with a healer. And this is what you just need to. It's just the facts. You need to be healed. Like, I can't put it any other way. This is, you need a deep, deep root tending to. Wow. Unexpected, as I say. I am going to take, maybe for the next 10 minutes or so before we close, I'm going to take some of your personal questions if you have them. In relation to resources that you need in order to break through or heal or get to your dreams right now. I'll do first come, first serve, so in order when I see them in the chat, and then we'll close. Woo! Well, spirit. Chat is also feeling, I don't even know, I don't have the language for, but I know that from what I'm seeing in the chat, you're feeling what I'm feeling. You're here with me in the spirit, I suppose. Let's have some water. Mm. Well, I'm just still waiting to see if anyone wants to leave a question in the chat or unmute and ask the question. I'll have a question here. I was group 3, so yeah, it is. But in the meantime, what resources do I need to access or engage with that could help? Dum, 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 dum. Do you know what? I can hear the Super Mario theme, and I was about to say, why is that the song? But it's only because like the very joyful, playful inner child part of me is back. So it's just like, okay, like, and it's not to be dismissive, but there is a shift in energy where the crying was a channel, like I'm fine. Like I don't feel like that as Leona. So that was a complete channel of energy. And now that I've disconnected from that channel, I could literally hear games. Like that is very much me. Okay. So for the person in the chat asking, what resources do you need to access or engage with that could help with what you heard from the group 3 message? Yeah, you are exhausted and burnt up, running on E. Sorry, I just need to move my leg. This leg is going dead. I think, I knew in part the answer was just going to be me. I am the resource, and I know that we haven't done yet the work that we are planning to do together. I'm just trusting the right time in it right now. So part of the answer is Queen of Pentacles. Leona's going to show you the way through. Like the work we're doing together is going to lead you out of this. This is true. Like that's true. But there is the other message, because that's the overall message. But I feel like they're like, okay, like give her something now. The message for you is that there needs to be a reconceptualization of self. So you do have the 8 of Cups in reverse, but this is the upright, this is the burnout, the emptiness that you're feeling. But there is a way that you think of yourself or the way that you understand your nature, which to me, I think strikes me as a bit Queen of Swords, that they think is a misunderstanding. And it's a little bit like what I was saying with the character in this book, where she's been told she's a certain kind of way, and that becomes her self-concept. And then someone else comes along and is like, you're not. And you get the Queen of Wands. And I don't think the Queen of Wands, sorry, that's a bit hard for you to see. There you go. I don't think the Queen of Wands is your self-concept. This woman on this throne, and it's a very fiery nature too. I don't think that's your self-concept. I don't think that's how you perceive yourself. And so part of the resource you need is I can really feel that visual and the vision. And I think you've had glimpses of this from the deity level and the work and the ideas and the ways that you relate to that, the deity plane. But I think I feel like solar plexus wounds around why you maybe wouldn't, or what's blocking you from connecting in that way. But I do think that there is something at the deity plane level that helps your self-concept settle into something that is a true reflection of who you are, and that there is a fiery nature. I mean elemental fire, fiery nature about you that you are out of touch with or have lost concept of, and that you need to know. And I also think it relates to the tattoos that you have and the identities you've tattooed on yourself, as reconnecting again with that Queen of Wands energy. Because you in this concept are, and I get this, like, there's a lot of soul retrieval work for you because you are the resource basically, but it's like these are parts of yourself you have to be able to go and get. So there is, like, again, the word I would use for you is a knitting together. Like there is a knitting together of yourself, and like sewing the seams that needs to happen, and a lot of it is complex work. But this is a glimpse of like what that's going to look like. And ultimately, they're saying that you have a partner in it, which is me. It's not been the right time yet. Okay. Next question. I feel like I was definitely in all the groups. At some level, I think that's true. Like, I think everybody could connect it, all 3 of them. I've noticed that a lot of my unconscious patterns and habits center around minimizing myself and needs in order to meet the needs of others. I think it's rooted in a trauma response of trying to control everything and prove I'm worthy. I will be so grateful for any advice on what I might need to know to understand the root of this and start to move through it. Mm. The part of the message for you is that these roots go deeper than you think. They're showing me like what they showed me as a visual is like sowing seeds in land, like a whole farmland, and the seeds and the like the seeds of your unworthiness are going much deeper than you think they do. Yeah, look at that. I pulled the card that I was being guided to pull, and it was King of Pentacles. So really bringing in that kind of farmland seed energy here. And then the Six of Cups, deeper than childhood even. So again, I think that's why the crying came through for group three, because the wound, like I said, it's a soul level wound, is deeper than even self-esteem concepts. Like you know, like, oh, I need to have higher self-esteem. It's deeper than that. You do have the Five of Pentacles. So this is talking about the unworthiness and isolation, with the Page of Swords like needing to clear that energy out. The resource you need, there's King of Swords and the Hangman. I just want to understand this a bit differently or more deeply. Yeah. Then Page of Pentacles in reverse. They're like, you haven't gotten to the root yet. The Four of Cups and then sorry, Four of Swords and Knight of Cups. You're thinking about this as a feeling. You're thinking about this as an emotional issue. Do you know what I mean? You're thinking about this as like, I should, yeah, Three of Cups. I should feel differently about this. And then like that's not the right way to think about it, because it's not living in the emotional body, like that where the emotions live in your in the makeup of who you are. That's not where the wound is. And with the High Priestess and the Ace of Swords, they're talking about an injury to the soul. And I think for you, I don't know if I said this to you before, I don't know, so many people that are coming up to work with me lately have had like priesthood have lifetimes of priests, being priests, priests, monks, like priestesses, whatever, vows, religious vows. They're permitting me to look up a little bit more. But they did turn my head to the different deck. The black one. Okay. What else do you want to say to this person? Hmm. You've got bridge and orphan. This is really the feeling in the body. And it's really interesting. Remember, I said for group three, it's like a child like trying to have an offering. And this is a child that's dropped the rose. I guess they've, seems like they've faltered or ended here. And you've got the bridge, like this reaching out energy. But I'm going to see if I can scratch a little deeper and then I'll move on. Okay. Hmm. Okay, I understand. Sorry, I'm so dramatic. The way that flows through for me, though, you have like the reason is you have a specific memory, and the reason I screamed is because I remember came out as I was like, there's a memory, but also we got the weight card, and I could feel it because I could feel what the truth is for you, but I knew that I was peeling layers, and then basically what they said is like this truth. Like after I did the solar plexus healing, and I was like, oh wow, like I have opened a wound. Like I now need time to tend to this. They're saying that this recognition and revelation of the depths of this wound and the location and the situation where you encountered it will be such an activation for you and the remembrance, because I can feel that it's like almost like past life regression energy. The remembrance you're going to have is going, they don't want it to flood you, right? So there needs to be a safe container around having this memory. But what I will, oh, I can feel that in my back. What I will say is there is a lifetime that is related to some temple That's what I would say. And I'm gonna stop because I could likely reach right in and say the whole thing, but I don't think I should. And also, it literally says, "Wait, there needs to be." What it is okay, I understand. You asked the question, but you didn't know what you were asking. Is what they basically said. So I can't just now say this thing to you because on a soul level, you weren't actually asking to know this. So there is now, again, that leading of the consciousness, there's now a decision within you over whether you want this truth or not. And I remember when, and I posted it in my Patreon, so those of you who know, but when I went through the channeling that I did in an altered state, and I had revelations and memories, it was horrific in terms of like trauma processing. But one of the things I remember because I was channeling gods at the time was hearing them say, like, my own soul had been asking to know, like, why, constantly asking why, what had happened to me, why was I feeling this way? And so the energies, even though for me, I was so overwhelmed with grief in the knowing when I found out, when I remembered, I had deeply been inside me, been asking to know, like I'd been asking and yearning to know. And they're saying that that's not the state you have been in it. So you now are in a space now to decide, do you want to know about the trauma you were impacted by in this kind of like priest lifetime? And if the answer is yes, then you will find out. But it will also bring healing. Like I said, the consciousness, the awareness will allow that to be cleared up. But you're going to have to go through the process of that. You can see that I'm all right. Do you know what I mean? It was hard there for a minute, but I made it through. Okay, I'm going to read to see how many we've got left and see how many. Okay, actually, we only have one question left, and I was going to say I'm only going to do one more, so that works well. Okay, last question. Definitely relate to group 2 and the resource I need being connection and intimacy. I've been trying to make new connections, friendships, and romantic, but progress is slow. How can I move forward? Thank you. Okay. Well, I heard. I've been telling people this, this is not the first person I've given this message to. Yeah. Somebody says you're too holy. And I heard all the people of the world, spice up your life. Oh yeah, spice girls. Like I'm gonna say it because I was editing them. The first phrase I heard is too vanilla, and I said I'm not saying that, and so I ignored that. I was like, I'm not gonna say that, and then they gave me the Spice Girls song, and they're just like, listen, the Temple card, the Pilgrim. No, sis. They're like, listen, you're a holy person. You're like the Pope. Just like the way that you are approaching this in your life right now is so sacred and sacrosanct. And do you know what I mean? It's like robes and ritual and intention. And I don't say this to mock you, and hopefully you are laughing along too, because this is a light-hearted message. But they're just like, getting laid is a thing of the flesh. I mean, they're just like, you need to. Okay, and then now they're getting serious. Like they were like, you need to break the purity culture. There's something in, and I don't think it comes from you, and you may not have grown up with it, but I feel like there's something you have ingested in your relationship to spirituality now that is wrapped up in purity, really wrapped up in purity. And it's not purity in the sense of sex is bad. I'm not saying that, but there is something at the root of it that says sex is holy, and it's not helping you. And there's something about the energy signal in your body of this sex is holy that is like, it's not good for you. And there is a need to smash that altar, so to speak. And then there is a need to be in the sex is mundane energy for you. Yeah. Actually, do you know what I can feel? There's a lot of ancestral energy today. That's a lot what we're feeling. What I can feel is that I can feel your ancestors, basically. And I can see one particular ancestor, she smokes. And she's caught in some form of sexual trauma. I'm not going to get deep, sorry, because I know, sorry, this is a public forum, semi-public as in semi-private. I need to be conscious of what I'm saying and everyone's well-being. This particular ancestor, for me, she feels like stuck at a threshold, like a gate she can't pass through because there's something in her body and she's just stuck. So I see her like, she's almost like in a nightgown and she's smoking. She's like by a window. And she's stuck in her body, even in relationship to sex, but she wasn't always like that. And I want to say this doesn't feel like SA, it doesn't feel like an assault energy at all. No, yeah, and she's nodded. She's saying that's not what it is. So I wouldn't want anyone to, like, everyone release that association. That's not what I'm bringing into the energy of the space. But I think what she's indicating to me now is that it's about her relationship to her body. Yeah. She's really stuck. It's so stark. And so there's something about you and your approach to sex and connection that is going to free many of your ancestors, but this one in particular, like move her through this threshold of energy where she's stuck. But it requires you to approach sex in a certain kind of way, and the energies that you have at the moment are a deterrent. And it's really interesting because, oh my gosh, like, I'll have to use an expletive here, but the word that your ancestor uses, slag. I'm screaming. Anyway, what she's saying is that, okay, so she's basically talking about this virgin whore complex. Shout out to her. I like this ancestor. She's talking about virgin whore complex and the way that either you're like sex is holy, not you, but this is the concept, right? Sex is really holy and holding the sacredness of sex in the body, or you're a slag. It's basically what she's saying, in that there's something about not being able to find an energy, a self-concept, a way of relating, a frequency in the body that is not those two things. And this is something that needs to be poured. I can see it like literally being poured out of you and then poured out of your ancestral line so that you can. And that's why she's stuck, because what I can see is like blindness. No one can see it. Like no one can see the version of themselves that has this integrated spirituality and this mundane sex life. Like it just is like, it's absent. So for you, being a bit more messy, letting your hair down, not being so holy about it, whilst not allowing it to devolve into something cheap. Yeah. This is the energy that you're trying to locate. Well, that energy, whatever is the integrated sanctity of sex to you, with the freedom to engage in sex with the body, is like, it's just a thing that animals do. Without cheapening it, that's the resource you need, that frequency, finding that alchemy of whatever that energy feels like in your body and whatever that truth is for you to express. I can see an opening up and it's orange. The energy is orange. That would be sacral chakra. I can see a whole opening up for you, but it is like on the hinge. It's on this hinge of like, how do you find her? And not her as you, but how do you find that energy? Because you know how I talked about relationship and connection and unlocking, you doing that, and then the relationships you have out of that energy is going to unlock not just you, but so many others. Okay, I hope that helped. You put in the chat, cracking up, deeply reflecting. The Madonna whole binary relates a lot. Very interesting. Thank you. You're so welcome. Everyone, thank you for staying. Comment says, wow, thank you so much for the abundance of messages. I deeply appreciate the space you cultivate for us. I love you all so much. I have been feeling, even before I started, I felt prompted to put this reading on YouTube just so that people can get a sense of what Horizon is like. But that's also why I don't say your names when I read your questions, so that there's some semblance of privacy around the things you're sharing and asking. So the chat won't be on YouTube. No one will see who was here. and there were no voices or anything. So what they're going to see is me. But yeah, no, thank you all for coming, for lending your energy, for asking your questions, for your love and your encouragement towards me. I've found this really beautiful too. So I guess I will be in AGC, I'll be in Temple this week, and Ancestors Group Chat, that is. And for Horizon, I will reach out towards the end of the week, probably. I need to get some whole nutmeg to do the nutmeg ritual, and then let you know how that's all going. And if I've given any instructions for you to do while I'm doing that. But I'm doing that in service of us as a group, and I'm quite excited. All right, I love you all. Take care. Bye.